Hey there, it's David here. I'm the head coach from the Body Shapers, which pretty much means I help women drop fat, tone up, and take control of their body. And what I want to help you in this quick video today is a problem I've been having with a couple of my new clients who want to start transforming their body, and it's when the scales actually sabotage your ability to lose weight and get the body you want. And what do I mean by that is simply that by focusing on that number of the scales, it actually takes away from what the real focus should be and can just play tricks with your mind ultimately. Because I know that a lot of people focus on weight loss. We want to lose 5 kilos, 10 kilos, get down to 50, 45, whatever the weight goal is. But the end goal is actually just to look good, be comfortable in your clothes, have muscle definition, be toned. That's actually the end goal, but we translate that into the scales, which isn't actually a reflection often of that end goal. What do I mean by that? I was speaking to a lady just today, and on the phone she said she's lost 10 kilos, and I said, that's awesome, and she goes, well, it is, but my arms are still jiggly, I actually haven't lost the fat that I want to, and I'm not really, with the body that I'd like. And I said, well, okay, so 10 kilos is great, but that's not really her goal now. So the focus there actually is that the scales said she did really well, but in the end she didn't actually get the results she wants. So why is that? See, the scales can actually be a bit of a liar almost. They don't quite give an accurate representation of what's going on in your body if you're just trying to build a nice firm body like most women I speak to are. So for instance, number one, the scales doesn't determine muscle versus fat. So we've all heard the old muscle weighs more than fat. Now that's a very frustrating expression because muscle is actually just denser than fat, which just means that this much muscle weighs as much as this much fat. So muscle and fat weigh the exact same. 1 kilo of each is 1 kilo. Muscle is denser than fat. So you could actually not change your weight, but you could replace muscle with fat and replace fat with muscle rather, and you'd actually be the same weight, but your body composition would be completely different. So it doesn't determine fat versus muscle. And I've had multiple clients barely lose a kilo on the scales, but they've lost 20 centimeters plus and their body's completely different. They're doing push-ups, chin-ups, whatever it is, and their scale weight hasn't changed. But if they just got caught up in the scales and said, oh, this isn't working, I'm not losing the weight, they'd lose hope, they'd probably lose motivation, they'd be ultimately very frustrated because they focus on the scales. So that's what I don't think you really want to do, is something to be avoided. Number two, scales are just inaccurate for things like water. If you're holding water, you're going to be heavy on the scales. Have you ever seen UFC fighters or something like that? They can actually fluctuate their weight a couple of kilos in a day just by manipulating water. Now, if you let that determine whether your plan is successful or you're on the right track, then that's going to throw you off. It's going to be giving you a misrepresentation of what's really going on. So water weight affects it a lot, especially with women. Menstrual cycle, it does affect that a lot, and I've had a few clients in the same deal where the time of the month made a huge difference on the scales and didn't really reflect their progress. So water changes it quite a lot. Even things like the stage of your digestive system. So going to the bathroom will influence it a lot. But we give all this power to the scales when it can be so easily manipulated by little things like that, and we let that determine if we're on the right track. So what do you do instead? You don't focus on the scales as much. It's simply one of many ways of looking at your progress. Ask yourself, if you're doing something like more push-ups, do you go from doing 5 push-ups to 10 push-ups? Well, what's going on with your body? You're getting more muscle tone, your arms are getting stronger, you're probably losing body fat, you're probably on the right track, even if the scales don't really say anything. You could focus on that, you could focus on body measurements, photos, lots of different things. But if you get caught up in the scales, it's just really easy to get frustrated by that, and focusing on what isn't actually the goal, it's simply an indicator of the goal and just one of those indicators. So I hope that helps you understand why the scales can slow you down. Don't focus on them, focus on other things, and focus on your input. What are you doing? Are you doing the right things to get there? Because if you're doing the right things and you're consistent, you will get there in the long run instead of getting caught up in the scales. So I hope that helps you. That's all for now. If you want more info and more awesome tips on how to take control of your body, click above, check out our website. We've got heaps of blogs up there that'll help you out. But that's all for now. I'm David, and I'll talk to you later.